YouTube, the final frontier. These are the live streams of the channel Captain McKay Random. Its continuing mission? To explore strange new action figures, to seek out new hobbies and new conversations, to boldly stream where no one has streamed before. Alright, I can already see the frames, hopefully not lagging too bad here, but we'll just leave it going, see what's going on. Meanwhile, it's been 1 week since we did a stream. Sorry, that was terrible. It's been a hell of a day. Well, not so much today, but ever since Labor Day weekend. Let's see, I was supposed to go back to work yesterday. Got out about 6:45 in the morning, whatever time it was. Car wouldn't start, so didn't make it to work yesterday. Had to go deal with auto failures and all the like. That's never fun, and it's never cheap either, I've noticed. But back on the road today. Brand new battery put in. So far, so good. Here's hoping. My name is Captain McKay. Welcome to the Captain's Log. What's going on? Let's see. I saw some people in here already. Let's see. Can't stay for long, stuck at work. I'm sorry, Space Case. Your boy Sheepy, let's go. Zombie in there. Kaimo Films, Khalil Ali, Latoya. Nice. Always kicking assholes. So, The Undertaker. The Biker Taker. Anyway, I'm hoping that the frame rate thing works itself out a little bit. I don't know. I've been having issues with the stream for the past couple weeks, as those of you know who've been trying to bear with me during my technical limitations that I have. So we're just gonna just plow through. We're champ through it. Kaimo Films was insultingly boring the first day of school. I'm sorry. It's usually they try and at least make things a little interesting the first day when they hand out their little your stuff you're gonna need. You're like, oh, get your book. Here's your here's a schedule. Maybe the tests are going to be on these days, whatever it is. Then again, I haven't had a first day of school in a long time, but yeah, I don't know. I'm old. Let's see. Latoya says, is the action figure of Shawn Michaels with white pants from WrestleMania available? There's two, actually. If you're talking about... Wait, hang on. When you say white pants, do you mean old school, his white tights that he wore, with the broken hearts on them, or are you talking about the white chaps, the pants that he wore, the looser fitting pants that he wore at WrestleMania 25? Because there's WrestleMania 12, he wore the white in his match against Brett, and then 25, I think he had white pants when he wrestled Undertaker. Either way, though, the answer is yes. You can get figures of both of those. Throw car in the trash. Yeah, yesterday morning, because I missed my first shift back after the holiday weekend, I threw my my holiday pay in the trash. So that's corporate America. I love it. Let's see. I had a bad weekend, says Ronald Van Donald. One of my best friends died in a motorcycle accident on Saturday. I'm really down about it. Yeah, that's rough. Sorry to hear that, man. Thankfully, my weekend hasn't been that bad. So, I guess perspective, could always be worse. Really sorry to hear that, man. When HBK fought Bret Hart. So yeah, okay, so there's an entrance grates with that gear, which is a basic figure, but that's almost better because he comes with all the entrance gear too, the whole bodysuit thing that he wore. And then there's an elite, I forget exactly which series it is. It's one of the WrestleMania Heritage series figures, I think, but that's elite style, and he wears the same gear. And he comes with a championship belt too, so that's nice. Let's see. Alex version 1 said the AEW championship is stolen. I read something about that. I don't know what that's if that's a work or if that's because I read that it was found, but then it was quickly said oh, just kidding, it wasn't really found. It's still open, and the case was still open. So I don't know what that's all about. AEW is, I mean, they're keeping things interesting, if nothing else. And I think a lot of that is to do with Jericho, who's the champion currently after, this weekend, right? Was their show? Or was it last week? I don't know. Alex version 1, what's up? Zombie, I just realized my 20-year reunion, high school reunion, is next year. I don't go. It's just a crazy thought. I got a little bit of time before my 20. I think I got till 2022. So I do have some time before that. But yeah, I remember my 10-year reunion thinking, well, I mean, I didn't go to that, but I remember thinking like, wow, that was quick, right? That's how many years have just passed, and I just feel like I've like totally missed them somehow. But yeah, I don't know. If I'm bored, maybe I'll go to the 20. Let's see. Bash said I picked up NECA Movie Turtles and Nathan Drake figures this past week. Awesome buys. I love the Turtles, man. They're like perfect figures from that first movie. Like, man. Dude, yeah, I'm glad you got those. Those are great figures. Which reminds me, I've got a box of accessories down here. Compliments of Bash that, it's just like a lot of these diorama pieces that came with the Ghostbusters figures. Now I got like the clips and everything to clip them together. I've been trying to figure out what exactly I want to do with these because I do know that I could build some scenery and just like use them as accents. But nothing's quite come together yet. But I am going to find a way because a lot of these pieces are really cool. So definitely going to find some use for them. As for what else I've been up to, I think it was just almost last year maybe when I said that I got like couple of unpainted head casts for the Jack Nicholson Joker to fit on the Mezco figure. Well, I finally painted one, and it's not, I don't know if you'll even be able to see it because of the way the light is glaring, so yeah, this might make no difference. But I finally painted it, and aside from the eyes, which I'm not any kind of an expert, I think it came out alright. Like, I mean, it gets the point across, you know who it is, you know who you're looking at. It just pops on the figure the same as the regular Mezco Joker's head would. The only thing that I would like to maybe get is a coat to kind of bulk him up a little bit, because Jack was never quite this slim as the Joker. He was always, like, this is based on a comic book Joker's body, so, like, he's really kind of, like, lanky, but I figure if I get a coat at that scale, it would make him look a little bit bigger, I think. But, so that's what I did over the long weekend, along with filming a little bit, which I will show, like, let's see right here. Give you a little insight, as I mentioned that Mortal Kombat project last week, and there you see I got a setup happening right there, so you may see that animated sometime down the line. Just keep your eyes open for any kind of, I guess, news on that. Built-in eyesight. We're switching back. There we go. Let's get to the comments here. Do I remember the DX special report? Says Joseph Miga. Actually don't remember. Is that, like, are you talking about where they went out on, like, before Raw and started listing off all the curse words they weren't allowed to say? I don't remember what that was called. That was like a presidential address that they had, almost. Kaimo got the NECA Rodan, and it's pretty good. I love the base, too. Nice, yeah, I remember seeing you, I think you posted it on Instagram. I still haven't found Rodan yet. I looked, I think 2 different Targets over the weekend and still nothing. So I'm still waiting. Ozzy said Evan Braun instead of Evan Bourne when he was guest host of Raw. Yeah, I missed most of the entire guest host era. I don't know if that's better or worse, but I can say that I missed, let's see, Jeremy Piven saying Summerfest. I missed Ozzy. I missed Hugh Jackman fighting Damian Sandow dressed as Magneto. I wouldn't say missed is the right word, but I definitely did not watch any of that. Let's see. Animating with that Goro must be a real challenge. Everything from, like, the ankles is, like, rough, as you can imagine, but he's just a big figure, too. So, like, he's not, as I look at him, he's not, like, the easiest to, like, balance a lot of times, but he animates nicely. You just kind of have to, like, figure out how you're going to keep him set up the entire time. Compared to, like, a big figure like a Godzilla figure or something, because they have usually pretty low centers of gravity. So, like, they're going to stay where you put them, and, you're not going to have to worry about them tipping over or anything. NECA figures seem pretty high quality. I'm happy with them, much more than the Diamond Select ones, which come across a bit cheaper to me. NECA does a good job, especially lately. There used to be kind of notorious like quality control issues with NECA figures, like they'd break like out of package pretty quickly, or like there'd be something like certain parts would be missing, or like what was it? I had one of my NECA figures like was supposed to come with alternate hands, and instead of coming with like the alternates, they came with like two pairs of the same hands. So it was just like, well, thanks, I guess. But yeah, just little things. But they have gotten, to be fair to them, a lot better about that since the last couple of years, I want to say. Swig of beer for the working man. Zombie hates that Goro figure. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I still very much like the figure, but those ankles, like, if they ever repurpose that figure into a Kintaro, they need to rework those ankles. That's, like, I feel like they know what they've done. Let's see. I missed something. That segment has one of my favorite HBK quotes. He was up all night. Okay, yeah, I remember that one. And yes, yeah, got him and Triple H standing up there. Oh yeah, Joseph Miga. Okay, I did see something about this. Oh, Kirk Holland. Day one, hope my various applications get me something. It's like being given a death sentence, going from 40 hours to 30. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, these companies, and they'll still probably want you to do the same amount of work too, because that's how corporate America seems to go. Like, I just had Labor Day weekend, long weekend and everything, but they're still going to cram 5 days worth of work into this week, knowing full well that the place is only open 4 days. That's just, and they're going to just hit us with it. But yeah, getting back to Joker, I did see people already like have seen it and reviewed it, and it's reviewing really well from what I saw. So I'm happy about that. I'm excited that I guess it's something that's kind of like standalone and different, as we all kind of knew it would be. But I honestly, like, the fact that it's getting 10s across the board makes me happy. Like, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be the type of movie where like fans of typical kind of comic book movies are going to be like, I'm not watching it, I don't like it, it doesn't fit in with any of my other stuff. I'm on board though. I mean, we've talked about a number of times on the stream, actually, pretty much every time like something new comes out about Joker, I think most sensible people are just okay with it being different, and it seems like it took that risk, and it looks like it's paying off because it's getting a lot of really good feedback. So I'm ready. I'm excited about that movie, and I think that happens to release on the week that I took off from work, so I'll be able to actually go see it at any point. Speaking of it, the new It comes out this weekend. Who's going to see that? I probably will go because my girlfriend wants to see it. She's not a fan of clowns, but her justification, well, except me, as we've pointed out, but her justification is that being scared of clowns works in her favor for the It movie because you're supposed to be scared of the movie, and so it's fine. So, yeah, we'll go check it out. I like the first It. I remember, not really having anything really negative to say about it. There's a couple of really good parts in it, so I'm hyped. Check out the new one. Let's see. Ronald Van Donald, on the bright side, the friend was in a band with him at one point. He's offered to be in a band again. Oh, okay, well, a little bit of silver lining there is always nice. Let's see, Zombie says, you've been seeing that basic Ministry Taker everywhere. I'm thinking of picking him up. He looks really good. The head sculpt, the way they painted it, the way they're doing their paint apps now on the face, a lot of times it really helps out the figure. And that Undertaker head sculpt really looks good. I've actually thought about picking it up and just popping that head on the Elite Undertaker. That's like the Ministry one from, God, what was it? Defining Moments? Or I think it was Defining Moments. Let's see. I'm going to see it, says Alex. Baki's going to see it. Nice. Bash says, kind of bummed I missed out on that NECA 89 Batman figure because its price on eBay is ridiculous. Yeah, I haven't actually looked at the price of what he's going for lately. And the thing is, like, I got one, and this, I may have even told this on the stream before, but like I got one and broke it right out of package immediately, and that kind of sucked, so I returned it. I didn't find another one for like a year, and then after that, like I just didn't open it. So I got a second one that's just still in the package somewhere. I love the Tim Curry one. Okay. Nice, yeah. I remember seeing that and thinking it was pretty good. I know we're losing frame rate again. I can see a big connection thing happening. Damn it. Joseph Miga. I forgot the guy's name, but has one of the cops from Superbad in it. Yeah, Bill Hader. I wonder how that's going to translate, because everything I've seen him in, he's like really funny. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to separate my brain from him like being hilarious a lot of the time to him trying to be like terrified and a serious actor. I'm going to see It 2 when it comes on Blu-ray, and I can lower my TV down. I guess I don't blame you there. Can't wait to see It 2 Lost in New York. I didn't realize it comes out this weekend. Harry Flynn was in the new OSW review video last week. You were in it? Really? Is that the one where they... God, what do they talk about? That like Wrestling Exposed TV show that they were talking about, with that review that they did? I didn't actually... I watched it, but I wasn't like paying too close attention to it, so I'm going to have to check it out again. Kaimo Film says reviews have said Bill Hader is Oscar-worthy in It too. Nice, okay. Wow, maybe I'll stand corrected then. I'll eat my words. Tyler Russell, what's up? Do I think China would have been a good cop? Yeah, if she put her mind to it, probably. I mean, she'd certainly have the physical intimidation factor going for her. They said my what bar? Oh, okay, in the beginning with that one guy who was like in purple and green and all that. I'll have to watch it again. Nice. Yeah, because what was I doing? I think I was editing some of my animation that I was working on when I had that on in the background, so I was kind of listening to it, but I wasn't really watching it too closely. I'm going to have to check it out. I feel like having It come out in October would make more sense, says Joseph Miga. Well, like a Halloween release? I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because are we getting like any kind of like horror movies for Halloween? Really have no idea now that I'm thinking about it. British Bulldog's going to win whether he wants to or not. British Bulldog. He's like, the British Bulldog is going to win the Royal Rumble because I'm bizarre. That'll get you a victory. You know, that'll do it. Am I going to see you in the riot to storm Area 51? I don't think I can be bothered to go from New York to Nevada for a riot that like probably isn't really going to happen. So sadly, no. I'm going to RSVP negative on that. But have fun, you know, enjoy. Let's see. Ronald says, starting to play the drums has been highly beneficial considering I have ADHD. Picked up a pair of sticks a couple of years ago and I've loved it since. Love playing my favorite songs. That's cool. See, let's see. I had a drum set years ago and I always liked playing it. I never got like excellent at drums or anything like that, but it was just always fun because it was, I mean, it keeps you active for one thing. You get tired playing drums a lot faster than you do with like any other instrument that I know. But yeah, I don't know, it's just something cool about it. What do I think of the Storm Bane? He's a prime candidate for Storm to make. He looks triple B. Yeah, he looks really good, Bane. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up because it's expensive. First of all, I think it's like $90 or whatever it is. So the price of a giant Storm figure. The figure itself looks really good. It's just not something that I'm probably ever gonna do anything with. So I'll probably pass on it. I do enjoy what they did with it. I think they could have probably given it maybe one or two accessories, though. I'm not sure what you'd pack in besides the extra hands they gave him. Maybe like a Venom tank or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I do think that they did a good job. I can't wait to see what they do with their Doomsday and their Lobo and Darkseid. Because Bane was one of the more recent ones they've showed, right? And, like, he's getting released sooner than, like, Darkseid and Lobo, which they showed, like, long, long ago. So maybe they're just testing the waters. That Bad Boys 3 trailer, though. See, I need to see it. I didn't see the trailer yet. Harry Flynn, there is no bull in this British Bulldog. I remember in Warzone he used to say like, my bite is worse than my back. But I had the N64 version, so that was like all he said. Because on PlayStation you got like FMVs and you got like different quotes and different things that the wrestlers would say. But N64 had a much like more limited space on the cartridge, so you can only get like one thing. Let's see, a broken back Batman. Yeah, he just comes with that. Like, just an accessory. Do I know how to eat with chopsticks? Yeah, but I'm not like excellent at it. I still, a lot of times, prefer just eating with a fork. And there's going to be people that are, probably insulted by that. But, a fork was invented to make eating easier, so I think I'm allowed to use it. I don't know. Kendarius to pre-art. Your boy made it. Nice. Did I hear about the stolen AEW title, says Baki? Yeah, we mentioned it a little bit ago, but it's interesting. Like, it's found, but then now it's supposedly not found anymore, which makes me think this is all just a huge work. Like, I think maybe it did really honestly get misplaced, but then they found it probably pretty quickly. But Jericho, being Jericho, was like, we can do something with this. Like, let's make something out of this. Let's see. Who wins in their prime, Batista or Brock Lesnar? Probably Brock, just because he was legitimately like good at fighting and all that. And Batista was famously like kind of like not injury prone, but like Jim Cornette said of him in OVW that he was like kind of frail, like would get hurt doing like very basic things. I don't know. Speaking of Jim Cornette, I was in the comic book store today buying the latest House of X issue. And I stumbled upon, there's like actually like a comic called like Wrestling Stories featuring Jim Cornette, and it's just him on the cover and like a wrestling ring in the background. I didn't flip through it, but I was definitely curious. So I was just like, is this like something he did, or is this like he would have had to give his approval to use his license, but did he like write this comic? Is it just him literally telling stories about pro wrestling and then they just illustrate them in the comic? I don't know. More research. That's what I should have done. Oh, damn. Rocky Maivia selling in Warzone. Yeah. I like, was it Mankind would do his like, wee, wee, like screams. So good. Warzone. Remember when the British Bulldog came back and wrestled in jeans? Yeah, he just won the hardcore title and gave it to Al Snow. And then started like hanging out with the Mean Street Posse. It's a pretty sad time in the Bulldog's life at that point, as I recall. Like, he just was so out of place at that point. Like, what do you even do with that guy? I don't know. I think he actually wore his Bulldog gear once in like a 6-man match, and he looked like when they put a bonus wrestler in the video game, like an old school like throwback wrestler in the modern video game. Like, if you were to play a modern wrestling game like a 2K19 or whatever right now, but you put like British Bulldog in a match, he doesn't belong there. Like, obviously, yes, he's a wrestler in a wrestling ring, but something's off about the whole presentation. And sadly, that's what it seemed like even then. And he'd only been gone for like 2 or 3 years at that point. Let's see. Unpopular opinion. The Batman is the best Batman cartoon after the animated series. I haven't seen enough of it to really be able to agree or disagree, so I'm going to just let it run, see what people think. Yeah. Bark, bark, bark. British Bulldog blue jean thing. Always had to start with the Bulldogs barking, though. You knew you were in for a treat when the Bulldog would come out. And then eventually when he got the mashup theme with the posse, so it was like... What did I say? The Ultimate Warrior comic? Did they also have it? They may have. This was just on the shelf, like with like the kind of like the featured releases. I'm sure if I dug around through back issues, they probably had the Warrior comic. I had at one point, I may still have. There's this Undertaker comic that was made during like the Attitude Era, and the way they presented it was like that his opponents weren't actually really wrestlers. His opponents were really just demons in disguise as wrestlers. And the audience and the crowd couldn't see them for what they really are, but then when you actually saw them from the Undertaker's perspective, they were big monsters and everything. And him tombstoning them, like, vanquished their souls, and it was just god-awful. But it was entertaining. I gotta find that again. We'll do a read-along on the stream one night if I can find it. Bulldog, British. He injured his back in WCW. Yeah, I remember that because they had like the trap door in the ring for, might have even been Warrior. Yeah, he kind of got really messed up after that too. Kendarius Dupree art. Also unpopular opinion. Spider-Man leaving the MCU is not a bad thing. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Like, don't get me wrong. I have faith in Sony. For some reason, I have faith in Sony that they can make a good movie like they did with Spider-Verse. But you're kind of leaving the MCU really open-ended. Because, like, Spider-Man has basically been past all of, like, Tony Stark's technology, and he's kind of been set up to be the main, not the main Tony Stark-like character, but he at least holds a lot of that potential, and they're going to keep an eye on him, and Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything. But, yeah, now you got a huge, open-ended hole where that was, so I don't know. Warrior having a wrestling school at one point, Warrior University. Did he really? I've seen videos of him, like, training people, not really actually teaching them anything, but just, like, making them run a lot and screaming at them. Let's see, The Batman was definitely an underrated cartoon. I think I saw one of the movies. It was, like, The Batman versus Dracula, maybe? And I remember thinking that was pretty good. Like, I didn't like the stylized, like, characters that I saw a lot of. So, like, the Joker being in that, like, insane, like, straight jacket with the big hair, and, like, I didn't care for that. And I think Riddler looked kind of ridiculous too. He looked like Marilyn Manson, if I'm thinking of the same show. So, like, design-wise, I didn't like the characters. Batman looked fine, but, I mean, it's kind of hard to mess him up. Let's see. Never saw The Batman either. The original Batman, the animated series, and Batman Beyond are enough for me. Love them both. Yeah, I'm still well overdue for my rewatch of the animated series. It's been close to 10 years since I actually watched the whole series. And yeah, even that show had its low points, but there were a few and far between. There was like a few episodes where you could shake your head and groan at them, but for the most part, it still holds up. Can you get the old British Bulldog attire in No Mercy? I believe so. Yeah, it's in the SmackDown Mall. You can get, I think he has his long pants gear from, was it SummerSlam 92? Or something like that. It's something very similar to that. And I believe he also has his short trunks, too, if I'm not mistaken. Teaching them how to do nonsensical, rambling promos. Just tapping into their warrior instincts. Let's see. Tyler Russell says, did I see Dragon Ball Super Broly? Still didn't see it. I'm going to have to check it out at some point, because I've heard pretty much only good things about it. My roommate actually has the Broly figure, and it's really nice, the SH Figure Arts. He's a big Broly fan, so he has like a little like kind of statue from that movie. He has the SH Figure Arts, and he also has the figure arts of the old Broly, like the non-canon Broly. That's just like one of his favorite Dragon Ball characters, so he grabs his stuff when he can. In the Batman, the Riddler was voiced by Robert Englund. Was he really? Man, now I'm going to have to check it out. Let's see. Here's why I have faith in Sony. Spider-Man 1 and 2, and the Spectacular Spider-Man. Also, I didn't hate the animated series. Oh, the animated Superman series. Spider-Man 1 and 2 were good. I mean, I haven't watched them in years, but I do remember thinking favorably of them. Amazing Spider-Man I wasn't into. Like, I didn't think it was, like, terrible, but it just didn't really hook me. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I've pretty much heard nothing but awful things about, and I haven't actually seen it, so I can't comment there. But, yeah, like, I mean, the movies will probably be fine, but the absence of Spider-Man in the MCU is what's really going to hurt. You know, that's... Like, people are still going to get their Spider-Man, obviously, somewhere, but it's just, I don't know. They set him up to be such an important, integral character and pivotal to, like, every plot point, and then they're just like, just kidding, we're going to take him away right after we, like, reveal his identity to everybody. What is the weirdest figure in my collection? This one I'm actually not really too sure about. Weird figures in my collection. I'm trying to think if I have anything like truly that unusual that I can point to and say like, yeah, this guy's really weird. I'm struggling to think right now. Honestly, that's too bad too. That's a good question. I wish I had a better answer. I know the Spider-Man voice actor from the first 3D Spider-Man games voices Batman in the Batman. Was that let's see, the first 3D Spider-Man games? Is that like Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation, that kind of era? Or are you talking like even farther back than that? Kind of digging pics of the 1/12 Mezco Evil Dead 2 Ash. Supposedly he's pretty good, I think. If it's the one I'm thinking of. Is that the one where he's got like the two different head sculpts and one is like kind of like the really shocked expression on his face? Because that could be cool. NECA actually has some good Evil Dead figures also. Like, I was actually really... I was considering picking up one or two of the figures from the Ash versus the Evil Dead. Like the older Ash. Because I like that show. I saw season 1. I gotta check out the rest of it. But it was fun. It was good. Yeah, Spider-Man from PS1 and GameCube. Okay, gotcha. Joseph Migas says, do I have any of those Stomp figures? I had The Rock when I was a kid. And that was like one of the first wrestling figures I got. And it was just like so out there. Because first of all, The Rock was a white dude on the figure. And second of all, he was like totally shredded. Like The Rock at that point was like, I mean, he was obviously a big, strong looking guy. But he wasn't like totally ripped. Like, picture a body type of like more of what he would have like today. When he just gets up at 4 a.m. and works out for like 9 hours straight. But, yeah, so that was my first Stomp figure, and probably my last. I know there was, like, Stomp figures in space. There was the series I had, which was, like, Underwater Stomp. Underwater Siege, it might have been called. God. Jax. And that wasn't even the weirdest things they did. They did Maximum Sweat. They did, yeah, God, a lot. Just checked it out. Might peep the NECA ones. Nice, yeah. I actually don't have any of the Evil Dead stuff like at all, I don't think. I think what would be an awesome is like Marvel does in the comics for Phase 5. Should only make villains and origins like leading up to the Avenger movies. Could be interesting. I mean, they gotta phase in new heroes too, so you're still gonna get origin stories for a lot of the heroes that just haven't really been introduced or we haven't seen anything really from yet. Like, I mean, Marvel's whole new like spiel of movies they've got coming out just looks ridiculous. Like, tough to keep up with. I'm overwhelmed, honestly. Like, after Endgame, I didn't realize how much of an effort it was to keep up with all that stuff over all these years until I kind of looked back at all the different movies that I watched, and I was like, I really did see a lot of movies. And now, looking at just how many they have in the future, I'm like, oh, I'm in for it, aren't I? As for other things that I used to pay a lot closer attention to, I guess this new Star Wars trailer, or, well, not new now, but I guess it shows, like, Rey with a red lightsaber, and so people are flipping out, understandably, as you do when anything Star Wars happens. I'm curious. I'm interested. I don't know what they're going to do with this movie after the last one, and so many people just didn't really like it. So, are they going to just go back and try and, like, undo the last one? Or are they going to, like, just double down and be like, nah, you know what? We're giving some different, mythology to this Star Wars thing, and you're going to like it. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. We're going to do it anyway. Can I imagine Michael Myers giving a speech as U.S. president? I mean, he doesn't talk, so he'd be... I mean, at least he'd stay off of Twitter. It'd be nice. Season 1 of Ash vs. Evil Dead was great. Season 2 was forgettable, actually. Oh, that's too bad. I think I saw the first episode of Season 2 where he was, like, in Jacksonville, Florida, and he thought he was having, like, the best life that you could possibly lead. Like, I like how low Ash sets the bar. Did I know DC stopped getting along with Marvel because of Joe Quesada? Nah, what did they do? I missed something with Quesada. Joseph Miga, those finisher figures. Let's see. Bash said Underwater Stomp Owen Hart is the one I actually used in my Fig Fed because I really like the gimmicked pink and gray full body attire under all the underwater gear and crap. Yeah, The Rock had like long pants, but they were like red and blue, like weird aqua designs, and he was like totally a hard plastic figure too, which wasn't really technically a bone crunching figure, but he was the same size as the bone crunching guys, so I always used him. But yeah, like I mean, I don't get why The Rock was a white guy who was like super shredded, and to be honest, like why the Stomp series existed in the first place. But hey, people bought him. And you got some use out of Owen Hart, so that's good. Those finisher figures that Joseph Miga mentioned. I had a couple of those, and they looked awkward, but they were fun to mess with. Like, I'd be watching Raw, and I would have, like, Kane and, like, Jericho or somebody, and they'd be doing, like, all these super exaggerated moves to each other because they could actually bend in ways that, like, none of the other figures could, and probably no human being could either. But, yeah, they were a lot of fun. And, like, you could really collapse them. So if you had a tombstone, you could just, like, push the guys down and, like, their legs and stuff would scrunch up. Oh, it was great. Let's see. Kendarius Dupree. I'm just ready for another good TMNT movie. Batman vs. TMNT got me hyped. I still got to see that. I've been seeing people finding the 2-packs, the action figures, in GameStop, I believe. I haven't watched anything Star Wars since falling asleep during Clone Wars. Arguably, I would say, and this is coming from a Star Wars fan, or at least what I would consider myself that I used to be. You probably didn't miss much, and that's sad for me to say because I used to love Star Wars so much, and now there's just not much to write home about, unfortunately. Let's see, who do I like better, Spider-Man or Batman? I'm a Batman fan. I think I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy, but my favorite superhero is still Batman. Like I remember like watching Batman as a kid and reading all the comics, over the years and watching the movies and everything. So Batman is largely to blame for why I like superheroes so much in the first place. That said, the rest of DC doesn't interest me the same way that Batman does. But Marvel, on the other hand, like you have a lot more properties, including Spider-Man, that I really do like. So yeah, for that reason, I think Batman. Tyler Russell, I should put Iron Man in front of all the figures as a tribute for his hard work. Yeah. Let's see. Kendarius said, apparently Quesada talked crap about DC as a universe and company publicly, and DC said they wouldn't work with Marvel as long as he worked there. Joe. Bash. I hope NECA Movie Shredder gets an individual release like the Turtles did eventually. You're in luck. GameStop. You can go pre-order it right now, actually. They have it open for pre-order. There's Shredder, Splinter, and the 2 different foot soldiers. Like, they come with, like, different weapons each. But yeah, last week I went and pre-ordered each of them. So, next time you're in GameStop, and I know you've got issues with GameStop, you guys got heat, but it's worth asking. Just because I know with the Turtles, like, a lot of the stores that I have like gone to, they just never got Turtles, and my GameStop only got 1 set of Turtles, and it was only because I pre-ordered a set. So, if I had just took the risk and tried to get Turtles, it just wouldn't have happened for me. So yeah, go check. They'll probably let you just pre-order one right there. Did you like Army of Darkness? Yeah, it was good. I mean, I watched it a lot when I was younger. I haven't seen any of those movies in a long time. I saw Evil Dead 2, the most recent time was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And still enjoyable, still fun, still campy and corny in all the right places. Bruce Campbell just being Bruce Campbell. What's not to love? Let's see. Is it weird that I'm not a Sasha Banks fan, but I like her wrestling ability? I don't think so. I mean, you can say that about a lot of people that over the years, you can be somebody who, like, you can be not a personal fan of the person, but respect what they do. That's kind of like separating the art from the artist, I don't think there's anything weird about that. Let's see. Do I have any Dragon Ball Z toys? Yeah, I got a bunch, Tyler. I got to do a video about that at some point. And also, do you remember when the Ministry formed and Undertaker and Kane had a casket match? I remember the Ministry forming. I don't remember a lot of the specifics behind it. So, like, a casket match, I don't particularly remember. I remember there was an Inferno match on Raw one time. The Ministry forming was, like, a lot of weeks of just ridiculous little backstage segments of people in dungeons and then sacrifices on a stage. And the more I say it, the more ridiculous it sounds. But yeah. I thought it was just a 4-pack. I didn't know you could order individual. I actually ordered my turtles individually through GameStop. Oh, nice. Okay. Sick. I didn't realize that those got re-released, but now that you mention it and you're getting them now, that makes a lot of sense. Good deal. All right, yeah. Check in, see if they can pre-order you a Shredder. I've never messed with the movie, like the Bad Guys or Splinter or anything like that, so I don't know how they are, but I hear they're just as good as the Turtles, so I'm hopeful. The Shredder looks awesome. Let's see. Speaking of GameStop, I heard that they're going to have retro games in store. I've heard that too. I don't know how true that is, but it would make a lot of sense if they would do that because, like, let's be honest, they're probably losing a lot of sales to digital downloads. They're probably people who ordinarily might just go to GameStop and pre-order a game and all that. If they're going to do a midnight release, they might just be like, you know what, how about I just download it so that I can play it at midnight when it comes out instead of having to go to GameStop, get it, and then come back. I mean, it makes sense, though, that they would make more strides towards things like that. I think that's why they were concentrating so heavy on the collectibles and stuff now, too. Like, they get exclusive figures and they get all this stuff that they never used to get before. Do we think if Undertaker was in his ministry attitude, would he be a good president? I don't... You know, at this point, I've kind of lost track of what a good president is, so... You know what? Let Undertaker do it. He does understand what it's like to be an American badass. So, you know, America could use a badass president, I think. Get Undertaker up there. He can, like, rev up his motorcycle and just, like, cruise on up to the White House. NECA Bob Ross is releasing in a few days. Can't wait. Is that the, like, that retro-looking, like, Mego-style one with, like, the cloth clothes and everything? He does look cool. Bash says, thinking about picking up a small handful of my favorite Bone Crunching and Titantron Live figures to display in my garage, but it's a slippery slope. I could see that going poorly. I mean, not poorly in terms of not finding what you need, but yeah, God. I'm trying to think if I still even have any of them. I think I sold all my Bone Crunching and Titantron figures a long time ago. I have a couple of Ruthless Aggression style ones left, but man, like some of the Titantron Live ones, like you'd have to get like Famous Scenes Triple H with the 2-pack with Cactus Jack. That was a good figure. The House of Pain Rock for me was probably the best Rock figure they did, with the elbow pads that had the logos on them. The House of Pain Undertaker was great. Somewhere I actually have the Famous Scenes Undertaker still, the Ministry one. So that might be my last remaining Titantron figure. But yeah. And then the Bone Crunching figures, like, oh God, some of my favorites. Superstars Undertaker, I think it was like Series 7 when they finally gave him the tattoos and like the more accurate look on his face and like gear and everything. The X-Pac from that series was really good, even though it was just a repaint of like Owen Hart. Owen Hart? That Owen Hart and the Rock 2-pack, was it like Too Tough? Where Owen had his like danger gear on. It was like the first good figure of the Rock they ever made. Now you got me thinking, like, I'm probably not going to follow suit, but it'd be awesome to have some Bone Crunching figures still. Let's see. Are you going to see any new match types in JWF? If not, that's cool. I'm just curious. I haven't thought about JWF since I finished Rite of Passage, so I haven't really been concentrating on what I'm going to do with it, but, you know, maybe after I finish these next couple projects, I'll look into JWF and see what we can do. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator 2 versus The Undertaker in his prime. Who wins? I mean, I'm a big Arnold fan, so I might be a little biased. Let's see. What was the best and worst Undertaker gimmick, or were they all good? I wouldn't say they were all good. Matter of fact, I'm not really even a huge fan of the American Badass. I just don't think it's aged very well. It's kind of like somebody's dad trying to be cool and failing a little bit. The Ministry gimmick, at the time, it was like you just kind of were used to it, so you just let this guy go out and do whatever he was doing. But like watching it back now, it's like he's like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer villain, like with his over-the-top evilness. I still think the 97, 98, like, Lord of Darkness Undertaker, because he was just enough in character to where he believed what he was doing, and you believed as a viewer what he was doing. But you could see he also wasn't, like, leaning too heavy into like the spiritual elements and the stuff that had come before that with like the urn and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, I think modern day Undertaker, like everything he's been doing over the past like 10 years or so, is probably a good balance of everything. So he's found a way to like take everything he's ever done and run with it. And so now he's at a good point. Well, maybe not physically, but gimmick-wise. Let's see. As cool as that Storm Collectibles Bane looks, I honestly don't know if I'll pull the trigger because I'm not a huge fan of the design. It makes sense. I just don't think I would do anything with the figure. I mean, it looks great, but I don't need to collect another line. And I definitely... there's a lot of characters in Injustice that I think looked cool, but... I don't really want to cherry pick another line of expensive Storm figures like that, especially when there's Mortal Kombat ones coming out later this year. Scorpion and Cyrax. There's a couple Street Fighter ones I want to get. There's Cammy. There's I may get the regular Guile and Sagat. I don't know yet. The X Factor theme sucked. Oh yeah, definitely. Bash says my favorite Titantron live figures were Kane in the hardcore attire. And those OG red shirt Hardy Boys. Oh, yeah, those were awesome. God, what was that, Double Slam? Those Hardy Boys? And the, for Bone Crunching, I'd have to get Gangrel Christian and the first Edge released with the cross designs on his tights. Oh, okay. I think I remember that Edge you're talking about. He might have been in that same series with Undertaker, actually, and X-Pac. Because that was, like, all new guys. Like, it was, like, Val Venus, Edge, Undertaker, X-Pac. That wasn't the one with Dr. Death. I think Dr. Death was before that. God, I can't think of... Was it Mark Henry, maybe, in that other series? I can't remember. But, yeah. Yeah, the Brood figures, those were cool. I miss movies like the Rocky movies. Let's see. We're getting another Rambo. I mean, I wasn't too big on the last one, but, and Creed is technically in the Rocky cinematic universe, I guess, if I can call it that. But, yeah, I mean, you don't have those classic, ridiculous, over-the-top movies the way you used to. Did the first Undertaker gimmick scare you because he looked untouchable? I mean, I was not watching wrestling at the time, so I didn't really have any experience with it. Dealing with the X Factor. I like how they just overdubbed X Factor again instead of when he says this fact. Like, I know you hate X Factor, but you ain't gotta look at me like that. X-Pac, Albert, and Just Incredible. And I had that X-Pac figure too. And the figure was not bad, the Titantron Live one. Because he had like the blue and silver full singlet gear. And then later on I think I got a 3-pack with NWO X-Pac, where he had just kind of the shorts, like the biker short look, and the NWO sleeveless tank top. It wasn't a bad set, as I recall. Speaking of sets, when I was getting my car worked on the other day, I stumbled upon a video of Zack Ryder opening up a bunch of Bash at the Beach toys, the WCW Toy Biz ones, and he was talking about the Goldberg, where he's just kind of in long black pants and a white tank top with a symbol on it, and I'm like, I remember that figure. But the Bret Hart figure in that collection was actually just spot on. It was wearing actual Bret Hart gear, and it looked like it had attention paid to the details and everything. I was like, I didn't even know that figure existed. That's really cool looking, actually. Dr. Death should make an appearance in future Batman movie, just cause. What are some other bad entrance themes? Let's see. Bad entrance themes. I mean, Right to Censor springs to mind, but that's intentionally bad. They made it bad on purpose. God, the original Big Show theme, before he got his well, it's the Big Show. It was just the St. Valentine's Day Massacre theme. And people have used that again and again since then. So, I know you've heard somebody with that theme. Let's see. Bad wrestling themes. Rocky Maivia's first theme. Yeah, quite a few. That Ryder Hawkins channel is pure gold. Very entertaining. I remember it coming up in a stream at one point. I hadn't seen it when we first brought it up, but I definitely got to check that out some more. I guess they were opening ECW figures the last time we actually mentioned it on the stream, so I'd be into it just to see those old figures again, and just to have somebody who knows what they're talking about actually opening them. That might be pretty cool. I might actually have to look into some of those tonight while I work on some things. Bischoff's theme is so bad it's good. I like that they actually use it as the intro to the 83 Weeks podcast too. Like, I recently started listening to a couple episodes of that. Just because now I've listened to so much of Pritchard's show and I've listened to a lot of Jim Ross's show, and I'm like, let's see what Eazy-E has to say. And you know what? Conrad Thompson does it again. You mad bastard. You've made me listen regularly to shows from people that I wouldn't regularly even care about listening to. So, good on you, Conrad. Let's see. What was WWE like back then versus now? Because what is sad is that NXT is doing better than Raw and SmackDown. Like, back then it was better. Well, Raw and SmackDown were shorter. I don't know what SmackDown is running right now, but like Raw was not 3 hours long. And you didn't have all this extra stuff because you didn't need it. You know, Raw would end on a cliffhanger and you'd want to watch Raw next week to see what was going to happen. Now, the way they set it up, they just give you too much, I think. And the way to make that interesting again is to just not give you as much. So that, you know, you can't, it's like, I think it was Jim Cornette again, saying like, how can I miss you if you don't go away? And if wrestling is constantly on, then I'm not going to enjoy wrestling as much because I'll never have that moment where I wish I was watching wrestling, you know? SmackDown's 2 hours. Yeah, okay, so it's still, that's good. Hawkins and Ryder did great podcast episodes on the history of San Francisco toy makers, ECW, and WWE Hasbro. You'd like it. Oh, cool. That sounds good. I'll have to check that out. Kaimo Films. I just don't like how movies aren't as celebrated as they used to be. Movies now have to have 50-plus casts, 10 years of build-up. To Kong 2005, in my opinion, movies with $150 million budgets were really rare. Yeah, I mean, those were like the huge blockbuster money grab type, like Titanic and stuff like that, where everybody was so hyped on them for so long. Now, I mean, these movie studios got more money than God, so they can throw it at whatever they want to do. And honestly, like a movie with a huge budget that just tanks isn't as big a deal anymore. Also, Raw was pre-taped back then. Occasionally, yeah. I think it was like every other week. I mean, when I started watching, it was live it became live every week not long into me watching it, like within the first year, I want to say. Because I remember watching Raw the night that Mick Foley won the title, and that was famously when WCW like just said Mick Foley's going to win the title, and then everybody just changed the channel to watch that happen. Let's see. I mean, we got Detective Comics 1000, but that's it. Batman vs. TMNT was good, but Batman is the protagonist, and Hush was trash. For this to be Batman's 80th year, DC didn't do much to celebrate it. Okay, so I read that out of order, but yeah, they kind of, I mean, they did a big deal on the 75th anniversary a few years back, but I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize this was like the 80th year of Batman, so that's how little they might be doing marketing-wise. Yeah, Batman versus, just Hush, I think, was mishandled. I haven't watched the movie itself, but I've heard reviews that say they kind of like just bungled it and they botched the story, and that Hush isn't even really Hush. Like, they just changed the entire point of the whole story. Like, how do you do that? Like, why do you call it Hush then? Like, I don't know. Speaking of movies, guess what, boys? Ghostbusters coming back to theaters for 2 days in October as a Fathom event with added and alternate scenes. Nice. Are they actually like putting the scenes where they would belong in the movie, or is it just kind of like a bonus feature after the fact? Tymo says, what do I have to do to be allowed to put the ACBA, that's crispy logo at the end of my videos? I asked Boog because at the time, like, there was a lot of people doing it, so I was just like, if I was a member of ACBA on the Facebook page and everything, and so I just was like, hey, can I? Because honestly, I don't think it'd be a huge deal because he wouldn't probably mind people like paying attention to what ACBA is. So let's see. I was one of those people that changed the channel at that exact moment because I could not decide which one to watch. Nice. WCW was just run by fucking idiots. I'd like to read the Death of WCW? I got it as a ebook on my like Kindle, well, not Kindle, but on my Amazon account, so I can actually just go into it and read it on my laptop if I want. But I remember reading it few years ago. I don't know, whenever I bought it. And it was really entertaining. And it was definitely, like, really thorough, too. Like, so you got to see, like, a lot of ridiculous things that were going on during WCW's, like, last days of existence. And really insightful. Gotta eat, Batman out. Let's see. Does WWE now make you want to do stop motion more because of the toys? You have rivalries that you create that never happened? Or is it exciting to get ideas from watching Raw? I mean, I haven't watched any wrestling in a long time, so any of my wrestling animations, I just get excited because I'm in control of them. I set up things that I think are entertaining, and that's just kind of how I go with it. A lot of times, if I want inspiration, I'll watch wrestling that I used to watch from being a fan in like 99, 2000, that time frame. So, obviously I'll go back to like new generation era too for a lot of the wrestlers that I like to use, or like sometimes like post-attitude era, like Ruthless Aggression for some different ideas, but for the most part, I haven't watched any modern wrestling since like last year's WrestleMania. Let's see, I haven't seen Hush either, but the graphic novel is great. How they F it up. I wish you could buy Killing Joke without the entire first 20 minutes. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that movie, once it actually became Killing Joke, it was great. It was, like, perfect, spot-on transition of, like, comic to animated movie. But that first 20 minutes, like, you didn't need that. Like, I think they just crammed that in there to make you care about what ultimately happened to Barbara Gordon, which you probably would have cared anyway. Like, just because of the way the story was set up. Like, I don't know. It's dumb. But Hush, yeah, they literally changed who Hush was. And they just did it in such a slapdash way, from what I gather, that it wasn't... I can't put it into words, because I haven't personally seen it, so I can't really give you my full, like, honest opinion. But I can say that it was a huge misstep, and it was just bad writing, bad booking. Swerve, bro. Let's see. The new Storm Scorpion is growing on me. I still don't like the skull mask, so I just won't use it. I think I might get it. It'd be my first Storm figure. It's worth it. And honestly, the Mortal Kombat line is pretty sought after, so even if you decide you don't like it, hold on to it for a little while and then sell it. You'll make your money back at the very least. You'll probably get more back if you don't like it. Let's see. It's like in WWF, you had one guy, Vince, where in WCW, you had Bischoff and Hogan and Nash running the show. I think it's a lot of that, too, but you also had Russo just doing what he wanted to do, and you didn't have Vince McMahon saying, we're not doing that. Like, you didn't have him being told not to do things, and so he's just going to go do them, and that's how you wind up with the WCW in the year 2000. I still haven't seen Gotham by Gaslight, which is unacceptable because I know I'd love it. I still haven't seen it either, but it does look really interesting. Let's see. We'll take one or two more comments here. I did see, what was it? Up above there. Why do I consider the Ministry sacrifice ridiculous? I mean, it's no more or less ridiculous than anything else that was going on in pro wrestling at the time. How, if I can transport your brain back to that time period, you also had, let's see, a porn star who had slept with a wrestling manager's wife, and so that wrestling stable kidnapped the porn star and attempted to cut off his manhood, only for him to be saved at the last second. So that was something that happened like 6 months before the sacrifice. You've had, like, the Big Boss Man kidnapping and killing and subsequently feeding a dog to the owner of said dog. So, again, ridiculous wrestling. So yeah, in that context, it's no more ridiculous than anything else that was going on. But at the same time, it's pro wrestling. Why do you have a guy drinking another guy's blood and being inducted into a cult at the top of the stage? I don't know. Think good thoughts for me, Kat. Good night. Thanks for the stream. No problem, Kirk. Hopefully you work out the job situation. Let's see. Kaimo, I still prefer the original Storm Ninja designs. Red is my favorite color, so I might get Ermac from Big Bad if I do get Scorpion. Ermac's cool. Yeah, I think you'll like it. Choppy. Yep. Listening to Bischoff on his podcast with Conrad makes me realize he's a really smart guy with great ideas. Even he admits giving too much freedom to writers and having shit finishes. Yeah, Bischoff is one of those guys that I think I admire a lot about him today because he's kind of gone on record and been like, yeah, I was basically just running roughshod and I was getting cocky and thinking I was going to run the show, and it just got away from me. So, for him to be able to say like, yeah, I messed up, a lot of this is on me, yeah, that's cool. You got guys like Russo who refuse to do that. They take no fault in anything they ever did. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, thank you for tuning in to another fine episode of the Captain's Log. We've had a nice chat here, and I'm glad to see the stream seems to have worked out okay with like frame rates and all that. Or if it hasn't, then sorry. But yeah, come back next week. We'll be here, same Vader time, same Captain channel, and we will catch you on the flip side. Later on.